this video, I'm going to show you the process from beginning to end. I've seen a lot of videos out there and they just give you a little piece of the puzzle, and so I thought I'd make a video about everything from poop to fertilizer. That's today's video. I'm Mike Stokes, and this is the Regenerative Homestead. So this is our bucket system, and we just use a bucket like this, and then these are wood shavings. We actually use these from our duck. We have baby ducks right now, so they're recycling those shavings. So that's part one of the system. Wood shavings, a bucket. We go ahead and pee in here too because the urine smells really not bad. And I just made a simple box with a lid with the toilet seat on it. The one thing I am going to do is I'm going to add some foam gaskets right here to keep the flies from getting it. So I just wanted to jump in here and say a word about the composting toilet. When most people think about composting toilets, they're only thinking about, the fancy thing that you're going to buy online, which is just basically a fancy mixing bucket with a vent. And that's cool, but that's not the heart of your composting system. The heart of your composting system is the pile that we're going to talk about next. But we ultimately, being on a budget and the way we're living our life, decided that we didn't want to spend the extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to get a mixing bucket with a vent. So that's the point of this little part, is just don't be fooled by all the marketing. That is not the composting toilet system. It's just a bucket. So the heart of your composting Humanure system is your Humanure composting pile. A lot of people use the pallets. They'll use the standard composting system. I like this system here because there's a lot of aeration in it. It's just an old hog panel with some chicken wire. A couple of pieces of corrugated metal would work fine. The basic idea is you just don't want a ton of rain going on it. If you have access to wood chips, a wood chip pile will actually keep the Humanure from getting too wet. We have a lot of rain around here, and I have some wood chip piles from chipping. And if you go down a few inches, there's a moisture layer, and then it's all dry because the water has a difficult time penetrating through all of the wood chips. In the next section, I'm showing you the Humanure compost pile after 6 months of processing, so you can get an idea of how far along it is in its decomposition. So here we go for our compost pile Humanure unboxing. So I haven't even opened this up. And so a lot of wood chips. It doesn't even really look like poo. There's a few chunks in there. So again, this is 6 months. So I wish you could smell it. I'm gonna actually smell it. Doesn't really, just smells like dirt really. So all I'm gonna do now is we're gonna let this pile go for another year probably. And I'm just gonna dig a hole in the middle, and then we're gonna process out our next 19 buckets. Okay, smell test. Just smells like soil. It doesn't smell like poo at all. It just smells like compost. So what I like to do is just take some straw and pile it up around the sides. So this pile shrinks in size so much. We have a house of 3, and you could probably go with this size with a house of 3. I would say 2 to maybe even 4 years with just this one system with all your human waste. And then the next phase, I'm going to show you how we process the buckets and put them in here. And just to be clear, this is a twice-a-year operation. So the absolute messiest and most dangerous part of this job is when you're cleaning the buckets. And when we clean the buckets, we just pour the water from one into the other, so we're conserving water. And that's, you know, poo water. So we had a bunch of buckets, and we had them, almost all of them, the first rinse. And so there's a bucket that's about a third full of poo water. And so I hope that doesn't scare you off of composting toilets. You know, it really wasn't a big deal. That nobody was harmed. There wasn't poo all over anybody. But I hope that you'll learn from my mistakes and just know that that one little moment is the most critical part, that you just got to be a little careful not to drop it. I don't know. I guess I want to say that I do think existentially, spiritually, environmentally, socially, culturally, it's a wonderful practice to take your own poo and deal with it. Because you know, I do think it's like you're telling the universe, you're making a statement by saying that I'm not gonna dump my bad stuff all over the world. So, you know, and some might get on you every once in a while, and it's not the end of the world, you know. I think personally, one of the things I think that is wrong with and why we're kind of destroying the planet is because we're so disconnected from the totality of the cycle of nature, which includes life and death and, you know, birth and wonderful food and, you know, poo and stink and mushrooms and fungus and bacteria and COVID-19s and all of these things. And we just got to make peace with it all and find the beauty in the whole mess of it, how it all interacts with one another, not just focus on the ripe tomato, but everything else that goes into it. You know, literally you need something else's poo to make that tomato ripe and beautiful. Just wanted to show you our bucket cleaning. Dr. Bronner's, little Dr. Bronner's. Soon we'll try to make our own soap. And just a toilet clean, just like you would clean a toilet. So basically you're saving up all your toilet cleaning for once every 6 months rather than, you know, every time you do your business. So I like to leave the buckets after we've washed them out in the sun, and the sun naturally sterilizes them. And now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the compost after it's processed. So here we have, this is probably 2 years old. I used a different system with this. I didn't use the pile system. I used a pickle barrel with a venting attached to it. I actually had a little solar fan attached to it too. I have an old video of that if you're interested in looking at that system, but I didn't like that system too much. It took a really long time. We used to use the bio bags. That's what these little green things are. They did mostly compost, but there's a little bit left in it. And it's fully composted, but you'll see like some of the bio bag didn't really go away. So I stopped using the bio bag. So that's basically poo. And it just smells like dirt. So you might be noticing that in this Humanure, there's a lot of wood chips. So the biological material of the poo, again, it's just, I want to kind of get past the gross out factor. Like that's poo, but it's not poo anymore, it's dirt. It's like anything that poos, eventually it turns to dirt. But this, you know, the wood chips, the lignin in the wood chips take much longer than the Humanure to compost. See, it's just soil. It doesn't. So I've been harvesting my urine in a bucket, and I poured that on them. So instead of peeing in the house, I'm peeing outside in a bucket and leaving it there. And then when it was about half full, brought it over here and poured it on it because it's full of a lot of wonderful nutrients for them. And now I'm going to take this Humanure and just spread it around the base, around the drip line. So the final step is I'm going to put another layer of wood chips on top of it to protect it from the sun. And so if you think about it on the multiple layers of functions and uses, in permaculture's terms, stacking functions. And one of my favorite ideas that I learned from a man named Michael Presley is to try to get your material through as many mouths as possible. So you want to get it into the fungus's mouth, and you want to get it into basically the mouth of the tree, and you want to get it into the mouth of the microbes, and you want to get it into the mouth of the chicken. So taking that one resource and putting it through as many mouths as possible, so that quote unquote in modern society waste product becomes a wonderful resource. So I hope that was valuable for you. I wanted to let you know that currently I'm doing 15-minute consults for free in several areas. I offer coaching and consulting on your homestead project or your construction project. I also do green business development for small businesses, solopreneurs, and if you're trying to start a home-based business. And then the last thing that I do is I've developed a system of ecologically based life coaching principles. And so I do like an eco life coaching system. You can see more about that in my other channel, the Happy Eco Warrior. So if you'd like to go deep with me and get some support on your projects, click the link below in the description, and that'll send you to a calendar, and then just pick a time that works for you, and we'll do a 15-minute consult. I'll answer all of your questions that you have, anything that you're struggling with or trying to work your way through, I'll help you with in the best of my ability. I hope to talk to you soon, and have a wonderful day.